Sir Elton Hercules John CHCBE is a British singer, pianist and composer, acclaimed by critics and musicians, particularly for his work during the 1970s and for his lasting impact on the music industry. His music and showmanship have had a significant impact on popular music. His songwriting partnership with lyricist Bernie Taupin is one of the most successful in history. John was raised in Pinner and learned to play piano at an early age, winning a scholarship to the Royal Academy of Music, where he studied for 5 years. He formed the blues band Bluesology in 1962, but left in 1967 to embark on a solo career and met Taupin the same year. For 2 years, they wrote songs for other artists, and John worked as a session musician. In 1969, John released his debut album Empty Sky and a year later formed the Elton John Band, also releasing his first hit single, Your Song. John's critical success was at its peak in the 1970s, when he released a string of chart-topping albums both in the US and UK, which began with Honky Chateau, 1972, and culminated with Rock of the Westies. His success continued in the 1980s and 1990s, having several hit singles and albums in both decades, and he has continued to record new music since. John has also had success in musical films and theater, composing music for The Lion King, Aida, and Billy Elliot the Musical. John's final tour, Farewell Yellow Brick Road, became the highest-grossing concert tour of all time. His life and career were dramatized in the 2019 biopic Rocket Man. John is an HIV/AIDS charity fundraiser, and has been involved in the fight against AIDS since the late 1980s. He established the Elton John AIDS Foundation in 1992, which has raised over £300 million since its inception, and a year later he began hosting his annual AIDS Foundation Academy Awards party, which has since become one of the biggest high-profile Oscar parties in the Hollywood film industry. John was the chairman and director of Watford F.C. from 1976 to 1987, and again from 1997 to 2002, and is an honorary life president of the club. From the late 1970s to the late 1980s, John developed a severe addiction to drugs and alcohol, but has been clean and sober since 1990. In 2005 he entered a civil partnership with his long-term partner, the Canadian filmmaker David Furnish. They married in 2014, when same-sex marriage became legal in England and Wales. John has more than 50 top 40 hits on the UK singles chart and US Billboard Hot 100, including 9 number ones in both countries, as well as 7 consecutive number 1 albums in the US. He has sold over 300 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling music artists of all time. He is the most successful solo artist in the history of the US Billboard charts. His tribute single to Princess Diana, Candle in the Wind 1997, a rewritten version of his 1974 single, sold over 33 million copies worldwide and is the best-selling chart single of all time. In 2021, he became the first solo artist with UK top 10 singles across 6 decades. Among John's numerous awards, he is one of 19 entertainers to win the EGOT, which includes an Emmy Award, 5 Grammy Awards, 2 Academy Awards, and a Tony Award. He also won 2 Golden Globes, a Laurence Olivier Award, and the Kennedy Center Honor. He was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1992 and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1994, and is a Fellow of the Ivor Academy. He was knighted by Elizabeth II for services to music and charity in 1998 and was appointed a member of the Order of the Companions of Honor in 2020, being invested at Windsor Castle in 2021 by the Prince of Wales. Elton John was born Reginald Kenneth Dwight on March 25, 1947 in Pinner, Middlesex, now part of the London Borough of Harrow, the eldest child of Stanley Dwight, 1925 to 1991, and only child of Sheila Eileen. He was raised in a council house in Pinner by his maternal grandparents. His parents married in 1945, when the family moved to a nearby semi-detached house. He was educated at Pinnerwood Junior School, Rediford School, and Pinner County Grammar School, until he was 17, when he left just before his A-level examinations to pursue a career in music. When John began to consider a career in music seriously, his father, who served in the Royal Air Force, tried to steer him toward a more conventional career, such as banking. John has said that his wild stage costumes and performances were his way of letting go after a restrictive childhood. Both his parents were musically inclined, his father having been a trumpet player with the Bob Miller Band, a semi-professional big band that played at military dances. The Dwights were keen record buyers, exposing John to the popular singers and musicians of the day. John started playing his grandmother's piano as a young boy, and within a year his mother heard him picking out Waldteufel's The Skater's Waltz by ear. After performing at parties and family gatherings, at age 7 he began formal piano lessons. He showed musical aptitude at school, including the ability to compose melodies, and gained some notoriety by playing like Jerry Lee Lewis at school functions. At age 11, he won a junior scholarship to the Royal Academy of Music. According to one of his instructors, John promptly played back, like a gramophone record, a 4-page piece by George Friedrich Handel after hearing it for the first time. For the next 5 years, John attended Saturday classes at the Academy in central London, and he has said he enjoyed playing Frédéric Chopin and Johann Sebastian Bach and singing in the choir during Saturday classes, but that he was not otherwise a diligent classical student. "I kind of resented going to the Academy," he said. "I was one of those children who could just about get away without practicing and still pass, scrape through the grades." He has said that he would sometimes skip classes and ride around on the London Underground. Several instructors have attested that he was a model student, and during the last few years he took lessons from a private tutor in addition to his classes at the Academy. He left the Academy before taking the final exams. John's mother, though strict with her son, was more vivacious than her husband and something of a free spirit. With Stanley Dwight uninterested in his son and often absent, John was raised primarily by his mother and maternal grandmother. When his father was home, the Dwights had vehement arguments that greatly distressed John. When he was 14, they divorced. His mother then married a local painter, Fred Fairbrother, a caring and supportive stepfather whom John affectionately called Durf, Fred backward. They moved into flat No. 3A in an 8-unit apartment building called Froome Court, not far from both previous homes. There John wrote the songs that launched his career as a rock star. He lived there until he had 4 albums simultaneously in the American Top 40. At age 15, with his mother's and stepfather's help, John was hired as a pianist at a nearby pub, the Northwood Hills Hotel, playing Thursday to Sunday nights. Known simply as Reggie, he played a range of popular standards, including songs by Jim Reeves and Ray Charles, as well as his own songs. A stint with a short-lived group called the Corvettes rounded out his time. Although normal-sighted as a teenager, John began wearing horn-rimmed glasses to imitate Buddy Holly. In 1962, John and some friends formed a band called Bluesology. By day, he ran errands for a music publishing company. He divided his nights between solo gigs at a London hotel bar and working with Bluesology. By the mid-1960s, Bluesology was backing touring American soul and R&B musicians like the Isley Brothers, Major Lance and Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells. In 1966, the band became Long John Baldry's supporting band and played 16 times at the Marquee Club. Well, Sir Elton John has been devastated by the death of his beloved Auntie Wynne. The Your Song hitmaker has posted a tribute to his aunt on his Instagram page, confirming that she died yesterday, aged 95. Elton John accompanied his tribute with pictures of him with his aunt, including a recent picture of the pair, one at the start of his career, and a black and white picture of her holding Elton as a baby. Well guys, what are your thoughts? Do tell us. Thanks for watching.